Okay. And I suppose welcome back, because we're going to go ahead and do the battle now. So if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to jump into the battle. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome back to Grand Tactician, the Civil War. We're going into another battle in the Union campaign. This is the second defensive battle of Alexandria. The Confederates have taken advantage of our moment of weakness as we reorganized into 12-month armies to attack us at Alexandria. And again, we're probably outnumbered by about 1.5 to 1. That's not insurmountable defensive odds, but it is a pretty high defensive odds against us. Deploy our forces to the battle. When finished, press play. Our escorts report the enemy is near Alexandria, Virginia. Our army is preparing for battle. We are facing the army of Shenandoah under the command of Joseph E. Johnston, estimated with 20,000 men and 16 guns coming for us. The enemy is green, and the morale report is confident. Reports indicate their supply situation is outstanding. Our supply situation is outstanding. And we do have a fairly forward defensive position. Our one and only objective is to hold the Warrenton Turnpike. Fairly forested area where we've got to defend. Army of the Northeastern Virginia. We can basically deploy on the Turnpike, so we will. Get our army all the way up there first, and we'll start thinking about how we're going to deploy it. It's a little bit of an awkward moment of the fact that the forests here are good for the infantry, bad for the cannon. Go ahead and deploy them behind the objective. If we do have a situation where our center falls, the cannon will fire on them as they move on the objective. So this is the turnpike here. This junction on the turnpike is our objective. Cavalry in center will respond and use them, and instead of doing preemptive pushing forward, trying to reconnaissance the enemy, we'll be patient and wait for them to come to us. Do have some entrenchment, which I think we should to some degree use, even though the forest is tempting to use because it is here. Gotta hold here. Let's actually put some entrenchment like there to start with. A little bit of, not parapet, the breastwork's what we want. Right? Yeah.
Fill those buckets, private. Fill those buckets, private. Fill those. Fill those buckets, private.
Whoops. Oh. Not quite right, but good enough for the moment. Let me run another bit of burst sparks across there.
Hope we don't need to march all day. Check your weapons. Keep them clean. Check your weapons. Sergeant, the waiting's the worst. Check your weapons. Sergeant, hand me the spyglass. First.
Okay. Something like that for the deployment. We do have some more. We have the cavalry and the artillery that we're kind of keeping behind the lines. So if something goes wrong, we can run the cavalry in and/or shell them with the artillery. Let's see if the enemy... Well, the enemy probably isn't even going to arrive today because it is already basically 8 p.m.
Fill those buckets.
Given that, let's go ahead and just... I'm going to camp the cavalry actually on the objective.
No foraging. You stay ready. Fill those buckets.
Yeah, we're earning points. Can't get it any faster, but we can camp it a little bit harder, I suppose. And I suppose, given that we don't think we're actually going to have any fighting today, let's go ahead and deploy skirmishers preemptively.
Make sure the caissons are full.
And then we can try to preemptively deploy some skirmishers forward on the following day.
Quiet in the ranks. Make sure the horses fed. Keep the horses fed. It could be a long day. Make sure the caissons are full. Stay ready.
Oh, I ordered the deploy scouts, but apparently our scouting cav are not big enough to deploy scouts from. Okay.
Keep calm, boys.
Whoops.
See that over yonder? No forward. The waiting's the worst.
Yeah, if I look out at the distance, be able to see... Yeah, get a rough glimpse of where the enemy is. We can see the dust being kicked up in the far distance there. But I don't think they're going to arrive today. In fact, given the circumstances, it may be worth trying to attempt to skirmish them at the river. Should be easy, so we've got skirmishers already forward, closer to the river, before the night ends, so we can deploy them closer to the forward defensive positions. Don't deploy the 4th Brigade. I wanted you to deploy a detachment from the 4th Brigade. That's two very different things. The entire brigade versus just a detachment of 200 or so men.
No forge now. No forge. Fill those buckets. Watch those flags. Weapon it. Weapon it.
We're being predicted, having a minor defeat being predicted, which isn't surprising because we're massively outnumbered. Yeah, 42,000 estimated enemies, and we're only got 2,300.
Anytime now.
Or 23,000. So we'll do our best to give them a bad day, but it may only be a bad day.
Weapon at the ready, boy. Mouth shut, eyes open, lads. Weapon.
End of the day. Troops resupply. Deploy your forces for battle. Okay. Yeah, because we push the skirmishers farther forward, the skirmishers can deploy a lot closer to those bridges. Or straight cross-eggs. I'm a little tempted to try to push the cannon forward. It does mean if we're unable to hold the bridges, and we're likely not able to hold those bridges, then the cannon would get caught, which is maybe not what we want to do. So we'll keep the cannon back. Although the cannon would be probably better in a forward position where they'd be having a better field of fire than where we've got them. Cannon's a little bit impotent where it is at the moment. It's not a particularly great position for cannon, but it's not like we have big cannon units anyway, so we'll just keep them back where they're safe.
time now, men.
Apparently we're both being penalized for some losses already. Okay. Apparently had some attritional casualties over the night. Okay. People deserting. Okay. Surprised I'm not showing any positive objective points for us, but we can see that the enemy does appear to be moving out. It's over there. Where is their other reinforcement point? Looks like just there. So yeah, they're probably waiting for all their forces to arrive. Down the road they come. Enemy cavalry has been spotted on the bridge. Skirmishers engaging. Honestly, the skirmishers will probably win the engagement versus the cavalry here if the cavalry try to force the bridge alone. They've already lost a third of the cavalry. Yeah, I think those cavalry are going to run. Okay, well I don't think I need to hold all the bridges, because I don't think they're going to try taking all the bridges. I think they're going to come straight across that one. So let's try to reposition the skirmishers on the flank so they're in position to support the delay. Okay, well we broke the first cav unit, we broke the first cannon unit. The skirmishers here are a little disrupted from their attempt to cross. See, this would likely be a good position where effective cannon fire would be really useful. But don't think there's any way we're going to actually stop the entire enemy army here. If for no other reason than we're going to run out of ammo if we try to do that with the skirmishers. But we can definitely give them a good thrashing trying to cross the bridge here. One unit has hit half ammo, which again isn't surprising given the circumstances. See, one unit's trying to go around. That doesn't surprise me that some trying to go around. Now that the bottleneck's piled up. Yeah, low on ammunition. I get that, but you're doing great work, which means I don't want you to pull out until you're basically empty. Ammunition low. Okay, yeah, it's time to pull that one back. You've done a successful job at shooting up the enemy. It's time your position to be handed over to a different unit. definitely an exchange rate that is beneficial to us. The question is, can we sustain it? And I suspect the answer is no. Swings slowly back towards minor defeat as our troops begin withdrawing. Guys are falling back because although they were quite effective, they have run out of ammo and need to go acquire some more. Can see the enemies are rolling up on both sides of the skirmishers at this point. Most of them try to come through the middle, and we have delayed them quite handedly there, but
sure that saber shines, boy. Quiet in the ranks. Make sure that quiet in the ranks. I hope we don't. Keep calm, boys. Soon enough, we'll see the elephant. Quiet in the ranks. Keep the horses fed. Keep calm, boys. Soon enough, we'll see the elephant. Keep the horses fed.
Enemy fire is effective and accurate. Yeah.
Shoot the one on that horse. Quiet in the ranks. Quiet in the ranks. Keep the horses fed. Quiet in the ranks.
So we can send Bonham's brigade running before the rest arrive. Got 2 brigades shooting at a detachment from another one.
Keep the horses fed. Could be a long day.
Okay, we did send it running.
Any time now, men. Keep calm, boys. Soon enough, we'll see the elephant.
See what might look like a exposed cannon here, so I'm attempting to send over one of the cavalry and start shooting it up. So notice the routes have gone away. Routing skirmishers, I think, only count as routing when they're actively routing. There's one reason you don't necessarily want to use skirmishers when you're well engaged. Is them actively routing can contribute to routing, which you don't want. AI Journals is saying he's engaged. In fact, it actually appears to be the cavalry. Go ahead and dismount. Given the circumstances, you may be a little bit better dismounted. Skirmishes on the right flank. We'll get a gauge on if the right flank is actually going to get engaged. There's a decent possibility it isn't, in which case I should be bringing it into a fight. Definitely have more reserves moving up. Double A. Okay, the cav was able to hold. It's pretty badly damaged. Mount them back up. Roads just take the most defensible position. The road is, in fact, in front of the infantry that you're supposed to be supporting. get the cavalry to do something useful have not worked. My cannons are actually somehow doing some work. infantry is starting to swing towards us. Well, at least one of the cavalry managed to chase off a cannon group before being chased off itself. Commander of the 6th Brigade just got killed in action at some point. Wounded in action in there. Colonel Baker has received severe wounds in combat. Okay, we're definitely giving better than we're taking. Who's low on ammo? That's a bit of an issue if a line shoots low on ammo. Oh no. And it's only noon. Enemy is retreating. Good thing we're running out of ammo, guys. Ammunition on the 5th Brigade. Low. Which is to say, the odd man maybe has a round or two, but on average, people do not have rounds left for their guns. Try to capture the guns. Really, that's, I think, the only thing we could take if we are aggressive, is maybe make sure they don't take any of their guns with them. Try to keep the guns from retreating in good order. There's 5 guns there, for example. There's 5 guns there, for example. Oh, looks like they have... Yeah, looks like we chased them fast enough they bend the guns to save their lives. There we go. The army is victorious for 4,106 casualties. We've managed to maintain possession of all of our guns, big guns. Only lost a fourth of the cavalry. Bulk of our infantry retained. We got rid of almost half the Confederate cavalry, captured all the Confederate guns, and caused a quarter of their armed infantrymen to become casualties. So that was a victory. And apparently a major federal victory on the defensive here at Alexandria. The Second Battle of Alexandria, I think that was. It was the July Battle of Alexandria there. glorious victory at Alexandria. So, I hope you've been enjoying if you're watching this. There'll probably be another battle episode up tomorrow. Whether there's another campaign episode up tomorrow is yet to be determined. I've still got about half another campaign episode I should record. But that's what I'm going to go back to. So if you're watching on YouTube, hope you've been enjoying. This is a battle that's going to be in the middle of an episode instead of the end of an episode. From a main campaign situation. So this main campaign one might have multiple battles. If that is the case, it'll be the second episode to have multiple battles. I suppose the Battle of Alexandria was in the first one. So with that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next one, and bye for now.